Guys, once you start this story, you won't be able to look away. Early one morning, a delivery guy spots a large trash bag twitching by the side of the road. Curious, he opens it and finds a pregnant female police officer curled up inside. But what really shakes him? A small note slips from her pocket. It reads, "I know who you are, but don't tell anyone." From that moment on, he's pulled into something much darker than he could ever imagine. A haunting mystery tied to his own forgotten past, and a shadow that might not be just following him, but a part of him. What if not all of us come back whole? Stick around till the end, because this story isn't just about fear. It's about forgotten promises, fractured souls, and a truth that refuses to stay buried. The streets of Ridgefield, a quiet suburban town just outside of Boston, were silent that early morning. Ryan Tucker, a delivery man in his late 20s, was making his usual rounds on his scooter. It was routine work, familiar and dull, until something caught his eye. A large black trash bag had been carelessly dumped by the alley wall. Normally, that wasn't strange. But this time, the bag moved. He turned off his engine. A strange rustling sound came from the bag, like something crinkling from inside. His gut twisted. Slowly, cautiously, Ryan stepped closer. Kneeling down, he reached for the bag, pulled it open, and froze. Inside, curled into herself, was a woman, a police officer, in uniform. Her hair was messy, her face pale. Her badge was smudged and her shirt torn at the shoulder. But what shocked Ryan the most was her belly. It was clearly swollen. She was pregnant. The cold morning air suddenly felt sharp, heavy. Time slowed. Her cheeks were wet with tears, her lips quivering. She looked up at him with wide, terrified eyes, whispering something he couldn't understand. "Ma'am? Are you okay?" Ryan gasped, kneeling beside her. "Can you hear me?" She flinched, tried to speak again, but no clear words came. Ryan looked around, no one in sight. Heart racing, he pulled out his phone to call 911, but his hands were shaking too badly to tap the screen properly. Then, something slipped out of her pocket, a folded piece of paper. He picked it up. "Don't tell anyone. I know who you are." Those words hit him like a thunderclap. What? How does she know me? Before he could process it, the sound of sirens approached. EMTs arrived and lifted the woman onto a stretcher, carefully carrying her into the back of the ambulance. But Ryan stood rooted to the spot, his legs unwilling to move. As the vehicle pulled away, he heard footsteps behind him. 1, 2. He spun around. No one was there. Just the wind brushing past the back of his neck, cold, deliberate, as if something had been standing behind him and slipped away. That night, back in his studio apartment, Ryan couldn't focus on anything. Not dinner, not TV, just the woman in the bag, her face, that note, the whisper he almost heard. Who was she? And how? Did she know him? At 2:03 a.m., his phone buzzed. He groggily reached for it. "Private number" flashed on the screen. It didn't stop buzzing. He finally picked up. At first, only static. Then, "You can't run. You remember, don't you?" It was her voice. Low, broken, ice cold. He dropped the phone. She was supposed to be in the hospital. So how was she calling him? The next morning, panicking, Ryan called all nearby hospitals. No one by that name. No woman fitting her description. No record of an emergency call from his location. Nothing. Shaking, he drove back to the alley. Everything was gone. No trash, no sign of disruption. Even the scratch marks on the concrete from her boots. Gone. He turned to leave, but then spotted something on a nearby utility pole. A faded police bulletin. Missing. Officer Sarah Whitmore, 28. Last seen, 5 years ago. It was her. The same face. Same eyes. And scrawled underneath in messy black marker, she came back, and it's still inside her. Ryan stumbled backward, dizzy, knees weak, hands gripping the pole for balance. Then he heard it again. Whispers. Right behind him. "Hey, you still don't remember?" He looked around. No one. But he knew. Something was there, and it wasn't finished with him yet. Ryan couldn't shake the chill that followed him home. Even under his warm hoodie, he felt the cold crawling along his spine like invisible fingers. He barely slept that night. Every creak in the apartment, every flicker of the hallway light made his heart jump. The next morning, he made a decision. He needed answers. He couldn't ignore this anymore. He drove to the nearest police station in Springfield, an older brick building with creaky wooden floors and yellowing posters on the walls. A middle-aged desk officer looked up as Ryan approached the counter. "Can I help you?" the officer asked. Ryan hesitated. I found a woman. In a trash bag. A police officer. She was pregnant. I called 911, but now, no one seems to know anything about her." The officer's eyebrows arched. "You okay, son? You look like you haven't slept." "I'm telling you the truth. She was real. Her name was Sarah Whitmore. That's what the missing persons poster said." At that, the officer frowned. "There's never been a Sarah Whitmore in this department," he said. "You sure you're not confusing us with another precinct?" Ryan's mouth went dry. "No, there was a bulletin. I saw it, just yesterday. Look, I've been here 15 years. I know every missing officer case we've had. That name doesn't ring any bells." Ryan left the station shaken. That afternoon, he returned to the alley where he had first found her. But it was completely different now. The utility pole? Replaced. The old wall? Freshly painted. The area felt scrubbed, sanitized, as if someone had erased the memory of what happened there. And yet, as he stood there, he felt it again. The presence. Not wind, not nerves. Something watching. That night, the dreams returned. He stood in a hospital hallway. The walls were peeling, fluorescent lights flickering overhead. Down the corridor, one room glowed red. He walked toward it, barefoot on the cold tile. His heartbeat echoed off the walls. Inside the room, lying on the bed, was her, Sarah Whitmore. She turned her head slowly, eyes locking with his. Her stomach was grotesquely swollen, bulging unnaturally, shifting under the sheets. She smiled, but it wasn't human. "Do you remember now?" she whispered. Ryan woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. The clock read 3 a.m. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One new message. He opened it with trembling fingers. "Meet me tomorrow night. Same place we last met. The truth awaits." Beneath it, an address. Ryan stared at it in disbelief. It was the old Eastlake General Hospital, abandoned for 20 years, condemned, supposedly haunted. The next evening, Ryan drove through the outskirts of town under a pale moon. The old hospital stood like a corpse, broken windows, rotting walls, vines wrapping around the faded sign that read Eastlake General. He pushed the rusted gate open. It screamed against the silence. As he stepped inside, the heavy front doors slowly creaked closed behind him. Then, a soft laugh. Far away, down the hall. The hospital smelled of dust, rust, and something else, something sweet and decayed. His phone's flashlight cast long, trembling shadows down the corridor. He passed an abandoned nurse's station. A single photo lay on the desk. Ryan picked it up. It was old, faded. In it stood a young female police officer, and beside her, a young boy. Him. But he had no memory of this. He turned the photo over. 2004, Eastlake General. Patient Ryan Tucker. His breath caught. He had been here before. As he moved deeper into the building, his memories clawed their way back. He was 9. There had been a car accident. His parents said he barely survived. But there was a woman, a kind nurse, who held his hand, who stayed with him. She had been pregnant, too. He remembered her name. Sarah. He found the maternity ward. The door hung on one hinge. Beyond it, a single hospital bed sat under a flickering light. And on that bed, Sarah Whitmore. She turned toward him slowly, her face pale, her smile tragic. "You came back," she said. Ryan's chest tightened. "What happened to you?" She rested her hands on her stomach. It bulged unnaturally, moving beneath the blanket like something alive. "You were dying, Ryan. I made a choice to save you." Her eyes gleamed with something more than sorrow, something ancient. But in exchange, I had to keep him. Ryan stepped back. "Him?" Sarah nodded. "The part of you that didn't come back, the part that should have died, but it didn't. It stayed inside me, growing." Ryan could feel it now, the weight of his forgotten past pressing down on him. "You've felt it, haven't you?" she asked. "The shadow behind you, the cold at your neck, the dreams, the voice. He wants to be whole again." Suddenly, the lights flickered. The room's temperature dropped. The shadows moved. From beneath the bed, something crawled out. Long arms, pale skin, fingers too thin, too long. A face with no eyes, no mouth, just darkness. Ryan staggered back. "No, what is that?" Sarah whispered. "It's you. The half you left behind." The shadow rose, standing tall beside her. "Together," it hissed in his mind. "We were one." Ryan screamed. Ryan couldn't move. His legs were stone, his lungs frozen. He stared at the thing standing beside the hospital bed. It looked like him, but not. It was taller, stretched unnaturally, skin pale like death, limbs far too long. Its face was blurred, like a smudge on glass. But the feeling it radiated was unmistakable. It was his other half, his forgotten shadow. Sarah sat still on the bed, her hands gripping her swollen stomach as if trying to contain something trying to tear its way out. Her voice came low, steady, broken. "You died in that crash, Ryan. Your heart stopped. You were gone. But I begged, bargained for your life." Ryan was shaking. "You were just a nurse. I was more than that. I had a gift, a curse. I saw souls. I could touch them. But when yours was torn in half, I made a mistake. I didn't return all of you." She nodded toward the figure. He stayed behind. The rage, the fear, the darkness. The creature took a step forward, its feet not making a sound. Ryan felt his mind caving in, memories flashing like lightning. Sarah's face when he was a boy, her hands glowing with a strange light, the sound of a crash and screaming, his own screaming. "You left me," the shadow said, though its mouth never moved. "I carried your pain, your nightmares, your screams. I want what's mine." "No!" Ryan backed into a wall, eyes darting for a way out, but the walls were shifting. The hallway behind him had vanished. Only the dark remained. Sarah's body jerked. Her stomach twisted violently under her gown. She let out a strangled cry. "It's happening!" she gasped. "He's breaking through. Ryan, listen to me. You can stop this." Ryan was pale, eyes wide. "How?" "Accept him," she whispered. "Face him, or he'll take you, forcefully. He'll live in your skin, and you will vanish." The shadow lunged. It moved like smoke and bone, wrapping around Ryan's body like a suffocating blanket. He fell to his knees, choking, gasping. In his mind, a storm erupted. Memories slammed into him, fights with his parents, shame he buried, pain he ignored, all the grief he never faced, the part of himself he had always been running from. He screamed, not in fear, but in recognition. "I remember you," he growled through clenched teeth. "You're the part of me I hated, but you're still me." The shadow hesitated. "I'm not afraid of you anymore," Ryan said. "Come back. Let's be whole again." Silence. Then a shattering sound like breaking glass. The shadow collapsed inward, like a star imploding. Ryan felt pain, fire, light, then calm. He was lying on the hospital floor. The flickering lights were gone. The smell of decay, gone. Only the morning sun was peeking through broken windows. He sat up. The bed where Sarah had been was empty. On the floor beside him lay a folded piece of paper. "Thank you. Now we both rest. S.W." His hand trembled as he picked it up. As he stepped outside into the quiet dawn, a breeze swept through the overgrown grass. Behind him, the old hospital doors closed gently. For the first time, they made no sound. Ryan stood at the gates of Eastlake General, eyes toward the sky. He wasn't whole. He was more.